Okay, so now we're going to talk about the Indians that were in the Great Basin, and they're telling us that was where the Sierra Nevada and Rocky Mountains were, and it was to the east of California. So just kind of remembering the area that we're talking about. The mountains of this region block the rain and make the land mostly desert. They need very little water and small animals, so it's a lot of desert. They have limited food and water, and they had to travel a lot looking for food. They camped and made temporary shelters. So what did they make their houses out of? Willow poles shaped into a cone with brush and reeds. Temperature dropped below freezing. They made robes. So this is what they wore, clothing, out of rabbit hides. And adult robes are 50 to 100 rabbit hides. In this dry environment, most people followed food sources from season to season. In the spring, they would be by the valleys and lakes. They got ducks with floating decoys. So they would eat ducks and duck eggs and cattail plants. All food they were eating. When the streams dried up in the summer, then they would eat snakes and grasshoppers. I can't imagine. But mostly they ate plants. So we'll have to make sure when they ask what they ate, we mostly say plants. Plants, ducks, eggs, snakes, and grasshoppers. They could dig up roots. They could weave baskets, knock seeds from plants, harvested pine nuts, and hunted rabbits. Definitely rabbits. Rabbit seems like their main source of food in the desert. Only blank animals could withstand harsh conditions. This is kind of hard because you have to think about kind of large deer, like what kind of animals were in the deserts. So in the desert, it's only really small animals like rabbits. In the basin, the most precious resource was not gold, actually, definitely water, because it's a desert. As the seasons change, people change what they wore and eat. Let's check. Yeah. Blank placard. What are the geographic features? They lived in the desert with few trees and very little water. Food sources, remember we said rabbits. What else did we say? Ducks, rabbits, snakes, grasshoppers, and plants. They ate ducks, rabbits, snakes, grasshoppers, and a lot of plants. These are their different shelters. What kind of materials do they use for crafts and clothing? So they made robes out of rabbit hides. Remember that? So we can definitely put that. They made robes out of rabbit hides. What tools did they use? Tools. They use sharp sticks to dig up roots. Any other tools? Let's do that. They use sharp sticks to dig up. All right, Great Basin is all desert. So let's see what they give us here. What makes me think of the desert? Snakes. Remember we have snakes. Definitely. They said they had almost like teepees. So let's see if I can get my teepee. I think that's more in geography. Okay, teepees. That's going to be my symbol to represent the Great Basin. Next section is section 7. We're going to talk about the plateau. So north is the Plateau Cultural Region. That would be like Canada. We're going to talk about Canada. They have dense forests, grass and sagebrush. That's what it looked like. Summers are cold. Winters are long and cold, but summers are pretty gentle. They hunted and gathered. People built their village along major rivers, so that's where they got, so they had drinking water and fish. That's what they drank and ate, but they used driftwood for shelter. So what did they make their houses out of? Just driftwood. It was basically wood floating on the river, but they were drinking the water and eating the fish. They could live in a village year-round. Ooh, they built their homes partly underground. That's an interesting fact about homes, so I'll make it the same color as the driftwood that they built the homes from. They lined it with logs and driftwood, right, and then covered it. So they also covered it with saplings and reeds and mud. They used weaving skills to make baskets. They made a lot of clothes. Men, this is what they ate. Men hunted antelope and deer. Women used the hides for, this is the clothing, right? They used animal hides for dresses and other things. So clothing hadn't been a color yet, so clothing will be blue. They decorated it. Hunting provided all that meat in the fall, and then they had fish and plants. So let's see, we have water, fish, meat, but we hadn't said plants yet, so we'll highlight plants too. In the spring, they gathered wild onions and carrots. They ate onions and carrots, something we still eat today. They really like camas, which is a starchy root. I have never tried that. Women uprooted it with digging sticks and ate it raw, roasted, or in flour. The most important food was salmon, so we'll definitely have to highlight that heavy reliance on food in this article. All right, and they would spear and net fish. That was kind of like their tools. How did living among the major river help them? They used it for drinking water, absolutely. Fish became part of their diet, yes. They could collect driftwood, yes. They could build floating homes, no. Remember, they didn't build floating homes, they built their homes dug into the earth over there. Okay. Placard blank. For the main geographical features, they lived by the river. What else? Do they live within mountains? Oh, dense forest. Mountains and forests. Live by the river near the mountains and forests. Too many R's. The main food source was, they had a lot, right? Fish, onions, salmon. Fish, onions, salmon, antelope, deer, onions, and carrots, and roots. Antelope, deer, onions, carrots, and roots. They lived in homes. What were the homes made out of? That's the orange, right? Driftwood, saplings, reeds, and mud. They were built partly underground. That would be cool to build partly tools they used. The tools, I think that was in blue. The tools used were spears and nets. Okay, something interesting with them is more of a river. So if I'm drawing my symbol, I'm going to look for a river. Big trees. Rivers. Put 2 rivers because it was so important. On both sides. There we go. There's our symbol for the pottery. Alright, next section will be a new video, and that section is going to be section 8.